Hi, this is Mike Burgess. I wanted to take a moment and share with you a summary of some of the panels I hosted last year as Vice Chairman of the Republican House Policy Committee. This series was called Policy Prescriptions. I invited distinguished speakers to come in. Oftentimes they were of divergent viewpoints, and they talked about important policy issues that, quite frankly, the Democratic Congress and their committees of jurisdiction just really didn't show the courage in talking about. The first was a discussion of the unintended consequences of our biofuel policy. That's the one that's shown here. And we tackled immigration and how local communities are being forced to act while the federal government, quite honestly, just sits on its hands. We looked into the future of energy, and lastly, we talked about health care and talked about some of the innovations that are occurring today as a result of the energy and innovation in the private sector, and how a bigger government solution could derail some of those innovations. Now, as your policy chairman, I'll continue to host events such as this. I'll continue to arm and equip members with the information and knowledge that they need to go out and tackle these tough issues at home. And I'll continue in getting our conservative Republican message out there. I want to thank you for your time. Thanks for listening, and I'd be honored to have your support as your Republican House Policy Committee chairman.
Now a discussion of biofuels and their potential effects on the world's food supply. You'll hear from Republican lawmakers as well as economists and representatives from the agriculture industry. The House Republican Policy Committee hosted this event, moderated by Representative Michael Burgess of Texas.
Discussion, the food for fuel, it's a controversial and complex topic. So this morning, I hope that we can discuss this subject in depth. So to do so, we have a very diverse and distinguished group of experts. They represent divergent opinions in several of the different angles of this complicated topic to identify some of the steps that we might take legislatively to lessen the impact on both food and fuel. We're here to listen and to learn and to extract politics and explore the facts. Today, I'm hoping that we'll begin doing just that. We know there is a problem. Eggs are up a third this year. Wheat prices are on the rise as supply dips. And global food prices have risen over 80% in the last 3 years.
And I would say that it worked in the way international organizations work, which was they talked about it a lot and then they didn't really do it. Like last century's problem. I mean, even for something like the World Bank, they basically stopped looking at agriculture issues sort of 30 years ago.
Well, thank you, Congressman, and thank you for hosting this. I think this is an important opportunity to talk about some of the things that have been brought forth in the public discourse, some of which are true and some of which are not, and some of which are open to some debate and interpretation.
Is there speculation in the corn commodities market?
Yes, there is.
Because of the renewable fuel standard.
I would say it is probably one of about 4,573 reasons, but yes. Mr. Young,
for your great leadership on anti-hunger issues. The Grocery Manufacturers Association thinks it's in time for Congress to revisit our food-to-fuel mandates and subsidies. It's that food prices are rising at twice the rate of inflation, about 5% annually.
My home state of Texas, the governor has asked for some relaxation on the renewable fuel standard. What would be the overall or the immediate impact and the long-term impact if Congress were to undertake that on the national scale?
Well, certainly. Freezing the mandate today will help reduce the price of these basic
commodities. Hunger
commodities.
should not be a political issue. It is, in fact, a moral issue. Too often we see people without living wages, people who are asset poor, and today we are here to talk about 35 million people who are experiencing food insecurity.
First, again, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today and talk on an issue that's really of critical importance to the country as a whole and certainly to agriculture specifically. I think as we've learned by now, this is not a straightforward problem, even though some would like to make it out to be. There have been several factors that impact commodity prices around the world, just as there have been a number of factors that affect food prices here in the United States. I found this an extremely illuminating discussion. We are going to have some decisions to make on certainly on the House side of things.